We often think of mediumship in the traditional sense, which is known as evidential mediumship. It's evidential mental mediumship. There's also physical mediumship. There's a few varieties, but the common one that we generally know about is evidential mental mediumship, where everything kind of happens internally for the medium. It's not like physical mediumship where things come out of the medium's body. It's not that, or things happen in the trumpets and things blow. That's physical mediumship. But mental mediumship is the one that's the most common these days. And it's an evidential process, generally speaking. Some countries have it a little bit different, where it's a bit less evidence and more storytelling. But generally here it is evidential mediumship, or it's a combination of evidential with the storytelling aspect in it. And what that looks like is spirit comes in and they will tell you who they are and some other things that you can verify. So the person that you're giving the information to knows with confidence who you have based on what you're saying. So everything from the relationship, their names, how they passed, what they look like, things that they did. Evidence is really anything that can be verified by the person in front of you or someone else. That's what it is. And it, as I said, can have messages in that of healing as well. But there is also forensic mediumship. Now, forensic mediumship is where it's a totally different process. The way it works is really different. And quite often it's used if someone has passed and there's a lot of questions around how they passed, even potentially if it was a crime and what was involved in that space. So where we've got lots of questions. And so the way that that works is really different because it's almost like getting little pieces, and the way that it's verified, it operates really differently. So it's a combination of getting the information and almost having to wait. So it's got almost that psychic vibe in a way, because you don't always know if it's correct or not until the pieces of the information are then gone and investigated and then verified. So the person that's gathering the evidence doesn't know straight away. Like in evidential mediumship, someone says, yes, no, it makes sense. But in the forensic mediumship space, you take the evidence and then you go and investigate it. And then the verification comes a bit later once the investigation is completed. So it's done a little bit differently. And the way it works is a little bit different. So there's this forensic mediumship space. But what you can do in that space is, instead of necessarily being around a crime or where we've got that type of energy where there's a lot of mystery around the passing, the same process can be used in a conversational style. So it's less clinical as forensic mediumship, working with the loved ones rather than authorities. So working with the loved ones to be able to ascertain information that the loved ones need, because there is a lot of questions around the passing, and it's often very practical. So forensic mediumship is a very practical mediumship. It's what it is. It's not in evidential mediumship, it's more this kind of healing storytelling one. But forensic is a practical mediumship. Really doesn't have the great emotions that you would anticipate in normal mediumship, or any healing doesn't have any of that in it. Might come as a byproduct of knowing an answer to a question, but it's not the process and it's not the objective. The objective is to gather information from those that have passed. That's the objective. And we'll be able to verify it and apply it in a practical way. So forensic mediumship, when you use it in this new way, and I don't even know what what I would call it, but it's really, I think, an awesome twist on almost two ways of working. So you can use the concept of forensic mediumship and the way that you work in a forensic mediumship space, add a conversational energy to it, and be able to work with a family and loved one in spirit, but in a really practical way, in regards to, passing it suddenly and, where's your laptop? What about, maybe we need to find your passport, your bank accounts, where did you put this? What about this thing? So it's a real practical space where you're gathering information from spirit about tidying up loose ends, what they want to do about X. It can be anything from, hey, you didn't leave a will. What do you want to do with your money? And you want to honor them in that way. So it's a really interesting space to work in. And the way that it happens is it's almost like you're just the voice for spirit rather than being the translator for the whole conversation. So in that regard, what that looks like is the family would be talking directly to spirit, uh, but you're all there together. So they'll be like, hey, Johnny, where's the will? That type of thing. And Johnny's going to say, wherever it is. And then the person takes that information and goes and does their investigation, finds it, and does whatever they need to with it. So it's that type of process. As I said, really interesting. I find it a great way to work. And because it has that really beautiful conversation styling from the loved one. So whereas they're like, hey, did you know that, John came over for dinner and he said X, Y, and Z, and he mentioned blah, 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 uh, and he said that you had whatever or you knew of whatever, what do you have to say about that? It's a proper conversation. And then spirit says whatever they have to say about that. Where is X and what they think about Y, and it continues like that. And it's as I said, an amazing way to work, and a way that I've noticed that spirit is bringing up a little bit more than what they used to, which says they're going, hey, we need to pivot on the way that you guys work here, because sometimes the old ways, people outgrow them. They want something more. And this allows for that real authentic connection without the regiment sometimes that traditional evidential mediumship holds. So if you love this kind of topic and you'll want to know more, connect with me, and I'm happy to share more insights and more wisdom, if you like, about what spirit can share with us.